During Tuesday's Senate Banking Committee hearing, Senator Elizabeth Warren pressed regulators on financial oversight. Warren went off on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit for attacking the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The Fifth Circuit, which is known for leaning conservative, ruled that the CFPB's funding structure is unconstitutional. She argued that the court's ruling, quote, makes no sense, as it would deem all of the witnesses' agencies unconstitutional as well. She lambasted the ruling, saying it is, quote, not only shockingly dumb, it is also dangerous.
In Massachusetts, I apologize, Senator Kennedy. You're next after her. I apologize. Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So since it was created by Congress just over 10 years ago, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, has forced financial institutions to return more than $13 billion directly to people they cheated. This is government that works for the people, literally. Now, the banks don't like losing $13 billion. They don't like being forced to shut down scams. So they and their Republican friends attack the CFPB. And the latest attack has come out of the Republicans' go-to court, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. This court has ruled that the CFPB's funding structure is unconstitutional because it does not receive annual appropriations from Congress. So I just want to test that out a little bit. All of you are here today from major regulators that oversee various pieces of the financial system: the OCC, the FDIC, the Federal Reserve, and the National Credit Union Administration. So let me start with you. Acting Comptroller Sue, is the OCC funded from the annual appropriations process?
No.
Chairman Harper, does NCUA receive most of its funds from the annual appropriations process?
No.
Acting Chairman Gruenberg, is the FDIC funded from the annual appropriations process? And Vice Chair Barr, is the Fed funded from the annual appropriations process?
No.
So, in fact, I want to focus just a little bit more on the Fed. Vice Chair Barr, the Fed primarily gets its funding from earnings and assessments from the Federal Reserve banks. Is that exactly the same source where the CFPB gets its funding?
Yes.
So look, there is a good reason why Congress created independent funding structures for bank regulators. Your agencies are the cops on the beat that ensure the safety and the stability of the banking system. Your rules provide the guidebooks for financial institutions to serve consumers while acting within the law. Congress understood this even back in 1863 with the very first banking regulator, that if the ability of our regulators to do their jobs fluctuated every time Congress negotiated a spending bill or every time Congress changed hands, that the financial markets would be thrown into chaos. Vice Chair Barr, your job is to make policy, not to worry about the Fed's budget. But let me ask, does the Fed's independent funding structure help provide certainty and stability to banks and financial markets, because no one in the system has to worry about the Fed's ability to do its job or to have the resources to enforce the rules?
Yes, I believe that kind of certainty is quite important to doing our job effectively.
Well, unfortunately, the Fifth Circuit's argument implies that because all of you are and always have been funded outside the annual appropriations process, that all of your agencies are unconstitutional. This would mean that none of you can do the things that you are doing, from setting interest rates at the Fed to making sure that when people make deposits in their banks that they are protected by FDIC insurance. And it is not just your agencies. Numerous other government entities are also funded outside the appropriations process, including the Federal Housing Finance Agency, the Farm Credit Administration, and the Financial Stability Oversight Council. By the Fifth Circuit's logic, they would also be unconstitutional. Not only does that make no sense, it is also not what the Constitution says. The Constitution says, and I'll quote it here, "No money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law." And no money is withdrawn from the Treasury to fund any of our financial regulators. As Professor Noah Feldman notes, the Supreme Court has repeatedly and reasonably said that this clause, quote, means simply that no money can be paid out of the Treasury unless it has been appropriated by an act of Congress. For this reason, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit and a slew of district courts have all upheld the CFPB's funding structure. Even though this decision out of the Fifth Circuit is not grounded in law, it could have real consequences for the stability of our financial system. The Mortgage Bankers Association understands this risk. In 2019, they warned that if the CFPB were struck down, quote, the results could be catastrophic for the real estate finance industry. The Trump court ruling is not only shockingly dumb, it is also dangerous. That's what happens when courts play politics instead of following the law.